cross your legs. You can keep your hand on your legs and take a few deep breaths in and then out. In, out. You can breathe through your nose or you can breathe through your mouth. But this time do it more meaningfully. And when you breathe in this time, breathe all the way down to the bottom of your stomach. And hold that breath and then completely expel it. When you expel it from the top of your lungs, expel it from the mid of your lungs, and expel it from your stomach. And then say, when you breathe in, say, I am alive. And when you breathe out, just say, I breathe out toxicity, or I breathe out negativity. I breathe in being positive, and I breathe out any anxiety, right? And just stay in the moment and listen to my voice completely. All right. So, come back to the moment and have a gentle smile on your face. It's a beautiful day. You're all here today. We may have troubles. We may be thinking about what happened in the morning or what happened yesterday or what's going to happen later. But for now, let's just stay in this moment. It's a beautiful opportunity for us to just stay, be present, to listen, and to be fully involved. Put away any distractions, your phone or anything else, close the door, sit here, listen to what's happening, and participate fully. You'll realize that if you do this right now, you'll feel wonderful at the end of it. You'll just be like, wow, I feel great. This is a great moment. So Lagna, shall we get started?
Yeah, we should get started.
Okay, all right. Just trying to find the way to share is just go to the share and then find. Okay. Share screen. Great. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about this concept about you are not alone. Okay. And before that, I want to share these numbers. Make a note of this in case you feel agitated during the presentation. I'm not going to be talking about anything that can be triggering. However, keep this handy. This is important. If you don't remember it, it's fine. Just reach out to Sulagna or anybody else from the team, and we will be able to help you. Okay. You are not alone. This is very important. We feel in our darkest moments that nobody cares, that there is no help outside, nobody will understand us, and we feel worthless sometimes. We feel helpless. We feel that there is no help, and we feel hopeless, thinking that there is no hope. I've faced a lot of struggles in my life. When I was 19, my dad passed away. And when I was 24, my best friend died by suicide. And when I was 25, a year later, my mom passed away. Right. It was very difficult that within a 6-year period, I'd lost my parents and I lost my best friend. But then, my sister was there. I also started developing a deeper relationship in terms of in my spirituality with God. And I realized that, my life had not ended. And I asked myself, what is it that, my mother would have wanted, or my father would have wanted, or my best friend would have wanted? And I realized that, they would have wanted for me to live on and, fulfill my dreams, fulfill their dreams, and also to keep their memory alive. So it is important to know that all of us are going to go through difficult situations. You are not alone. You have yourself, you have your friends and your family, and then you have the community around you, and then you also have help from strangers and, crisis helplines and so on. So the universe of help available to us is a lot. So we are not alone, right? So when do we feel safe? We feel safest when we are in our mother's womb for those 9 months. Our environment is very regulated, it's controlled, and you feel completely safe. All our needs are taken care of, right? Whether it's food, whether it's shelter, anything that we want, the environment is so amazing that for those 9 months, we feel completely safe. However, when we are born, birth is traumatic. That's why babies cry. They're like, I was feeling completely safe. I was happily asleep. Now I'm woken up. But that is life, right? The first thing you want to tell yourself is that life is going to be difficult. Once we realize that life is going to be difficult, life starts to get easier. I think the biggest struggle that most of us have is wanting to avoid discomfort and wanting to avoid anything that will cause us pain and suffering, right? You could do a number of things. Siddhartha decided that the way to get out of this pain and suffering and the circle of suffering is to get out and not have any desires. You could try and find your own way, but the truth is this: regardless of, I went to a bookstore and there was an old man, and I bought 2 books, and I was walking out, and then I asked him, "Do you have any tips for life?" Right? I was expecting him to tell me, how to be happy or something. He said, "Do you really want to know?" And I said, "Yes, I want to know." And then he said, "Life is full of pain and disappointment." And I was like, "Wow, why is he telling me this?" And then I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because life is very complicated right now. It is very difficult." And I said, "What if we have, if we, avoid a lot of things and we have less expectations?" And he said, "No, even if you have that, the people and the circumstances will always disappoint you. They will always let you down, and you're going to feel pain." So we feel most safe here. The moment we are born, there is repeated trauma and stress, right? So this is a reality. The first thing we got to do is accept this. You may ask, what causes distress? There are a lot of things that is going to cause you distress. Relationships, financial issues, the political climate, physical illness, mental illness, lifestyle issues, precipitating factors. What do I mean by precipitating factor? A precipitating factor is your life is going on manageable. Suddenly, out of the blue, this is what is called a black swan event. COVID is a black swan event. You could suffer something which is not your fault, right? Somebody dies, you have an accident, there is bullying, there's discrimination, there's assault. Any of these things can happen to you, and we are not prepared for it. They happen out of the blue, right? I will tell you about how to deal with this all later, but these are the things that cause you distress. It's genetic, that it's passed on, and it's biological, right? So distress can be inbuilt. Let's say you have I have a diagnosis of ADHD, and ADHD is a neurocognitive disorder. It means that there's a faulty wiring in the brain, and what that means is that there is some kind of dopamine deficiency, and certain parts of my brain don't function really well, right? And so that is basically biological, right? And it is a disorder, and I've got to accept it, and it causes all kinds of distress. What kinds of distress? Emotional dysregulation, right? I have trouble regulating my emotions. And therefore, there could be situations where I get completely overwhelmed and overstimulated, and I might respond in a way that is harmful to the situation, to the people around, and harmful to me. That could cause a disruption in my life, right? And that causes further distress. Because I lack dopamine, I am seeking dopamine in things that are easily available. That means addiction to food. It can happen to alcohol. Any kind of addiction, whether is what I get drawn to, right? And the environment around you can also cause distress. So there are three things that cause you severe distress, right? It's death, it's debt, and it's divorce. So going back to this, we feel most safe here. And any activity that we indulge in, we are looking for safety. You're here right now. When you want to open your mouth and ask a question, you ask yourself, do I feel safe right now? You leave this meeting, you go and meet a friend, or wherever you are, you want to feel safe. So at work, this is a concept called psychological safety, right? So we want to feel safe, and we're looking for safety all the time. And basically, all these three things over here make us feel very unsafe. When I'm talking about divorce, I'm talking about breakup. I'm talking about breakup in a relationship. It can be a friendship. It can be a romantic relationship. It can be a relationship with parents. It can be with siblings. It can be with anyone, right? So we're talking about death, debt, and divorce, or bereavement, bankruptcy, and breakup. All right. These three things, or any of these type of things, make us feel unsafe. And there's concept called loss. What happens over here is any of these things make us think that our very survival. So what do we want to do? We want to live. We want to survive. And when our survival is threatened, these three things make us feel unsafe. And therefore, our brain is signaling to us that right now you're unsafe and your very survival is threatened. That's why this is severe distress. Okay. So this is something, once we realize it, we can prepare for it. So I'm going to talk about when do you know that you're feeling severe distress, right? Here are some factors that is going to tell you. These are severe acute behavioral warning signs, which are more than just feeling low and so on. So suffering from severe anxiety and turmoil, unable to calm down even for a short period of time. You're pacing, you're wringing your hands, you can't sit still, you have trouble focusing. And if you see someone else, they look like they just want to jump out of their skin. Ruminating over the same thing over and over again. You're just thinking about the same thing, replaying it again and again. You can't get that thing out of your head. It can be an irrational fear, and you cannot be calmed down. And if you're talking to someone, they cannot be redirected, and they go back to the same thing over and over again. So unable to sleep or stay asleep. This is a big problem. If you have trouble with this, I'm not talking about being an insomniac. I'm talking about, going for several days without sleep. This is a serious marker for even a near-term suicide attempt. So if you see somebody, again, I want to talk about saying, don't take this as a single factor. There are many factors which can cause a person to be severely distressed. But several nights without sleep presents great risk. So if you know somebody who's having difficulty sleeping, the first thing you want to do is try to get them to sleep, or take them to a doctor who can help them to sleep, to calm down. Okay. Suffering delusions, false beliefs of doom and gloom, that a belief that something terrible or unavoidable is about to happen. If they cannot be talked out of this belief, medical intervention is needed. Suffering from recent alcohol intoxication and over drinking or drug abuse, heavy drinking may be an effort to self-medicate or to alleviate insomnia and anxiety. So I want to tell you that all of us are going to go through situations like this. The most important thing for you is to be ready with telling yourself that this is okay, and telling yourself that if you find that somebody else is in this situation, you need to calm down, and then you need to tell the person that it's going to be all right. I am here for you, and we will, we will see you through this situation. Okay, what do we want to do when there's severe distress? There are two things to be done, right? Think of COVID. What are we doing? We wear a mask. That's reducing risk. We don't go out into the public that often when there are a lot of people. That's reducing risk. And we are increasing protection. How do you increase protection? You get vaccinated, you exercise more, you eat well, you sleep well. Same with distress. The problem with emotional distress, mental and psychological pain is that sometimes we're not even aware that we're going through it. Okay, I want to repeat this. So we did a recent survey. We are building an app for suicide prevention, and we asked a lot of people, when we are feeling emotional distress, did you seek help? So a lot of them said they didn't seek help. Some of them said we sought help. And there was something interesting that came out of all of this, right? So they said that once they sought help, they didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to talk about. They knew they were in pain, but they didn't know what was causing the pain or how to communicate that pain. So I want to take this moment for all of you to start becoming more aware of your emotions. If you want to start by becoming more aware of how you're feeling, ask yourself the next time you feel angry, disappointed, hurt, dysregulated, you feel like drinking, you feel like eating, you feel like self-harming, you feel like screaming, if you feel like just sleeping and not getting out of bed, ask yourself, what am I feeling? Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? If it helps you, write this down. Also, meet with a therapist. They will help you to understand what is really going on. So it's important for you to start to understand this. There is something called a feelings wheel. A feelings wheel is a great way to start. So just look for this feelings wheel online, feelings wheel, and it gives you a spectrum of feelings. So most of us will say, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm depressed. But there are lots of other things. I'm exasperated, I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed. There are different levels of how we feel. And the more we start to engage with saying, this is how I feel, you'll start to be able to label your feelings. You start to develop a vocabulary for these feelings. You start to find words to express. And the moment you start expressing, you start to feel better. You can express to someone saying, this is how I'm feeling. You can express to somebody saying, this is how I'm feeling, this is the help that I need. The moment you start to label something is when you can get the help. It's when you can help yourself. If you don't know what you're feeling, how are you going to understand what help you need? How are you going to ask for help? So this is very important. I want to repeat this feelings wheel, and we're going to talk about how do you reduce risk and how do you increase protection. Let's talk about protective factors first, right? How do you build how do you vaccinate against feelings that are going to be there? So what is vaccination? Is the vaccination going to say that that COVID is not there, or you want to get COVID? No, vaccination is just saying it's an armor which is protecting you against COVID. Second thing, if you get COVID, then you are in a position to be able to handle it. The symptoms are less, right? So it's really important that we focus on protective factors. All of us here today can start building protective factors. You can start building a circle of protection around you, and you can start building what are called safety nets. So all of us are walking on a tightrope. When we fall, we need a safety net to catch us. All right. So we're building a circle of protection, and we're going to build safety nets. Okay. So it's very important that you can start doing this right now. You can start doing this today. So one of the things you can do right now is to make a note of all the points that we are talking about. And then after you finish, you could start off by, writing down in your own notebook about why you're grateful, right? Grateful for anything. Just write down. It's a gratitude journaling. It is a protective factor. At any point in time, you have any questions to ask, please ask, right? So protective factors, effective behavioral healthcare if there's an undiagnosed mental health issue. So I recently got diagnosed with ADHD. And how did it happen? I had an episode called rejection sensitive dysphoria. What this is that I didn't even know there's something called rejection sensitive dysphoria. to put it simply, something upset me, but my reaction to what had upset me was many times more than what had upset me. And that led to a rupture, and I had, a breakup, and that hurt me a lot, right? But thankfully, I met somebody who spoke about ADHD, and then I was like, and I said, "Oh, what do you mean by ADHD?" And then the person said, there is something called rejection sensitive dysphoria. Those with ADHD, when they feel ridiculed, insulted, or ignored, they suffer something called rejection sensitive dysphoria, and they can become depressed, angry, and even suicidal. And I was like, wow, that happened to me. And I started to read more about rejection sensitive dysphoria. And this is real, and this can disrupt your relationships, right? Luckily for me, once I realized that, I could have ADHD, I met with a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist himself had ADHD, and he helped me with how to deal with something like this, right? So let's say you have a broken leg, or if your computer crashes, you know that your computer has crashed, right? Or your computer is slowing down, there's a virus or there's something, and you go and fix it, and it gets better. The same with your mental health. If you do not know what you have, you will not be able to address it. So it's very important to seek help, even if you do not have a mental health related issue. If you're undergoing any stress, you need to seek help. There are all kinds of ways to seek help. Let's say you sought help and you found that it's not helpful for you. I want you to go back and try and find the right kind of therapist, because sometimes we do not find the right therapist immediately. If you had a bad experience, don't make it stop you from getting help. Please seek help. You will feel better. If there's a stigma around seeking help, do it anonymously. If you do not want to talk about what is going on, keep it yourself till the time you're ready. You don't need to disclose it. Social connectedness to friends and family. So after I mentioned, my dad died, my best friend died by suicide, my mom passed away. Luckily for me, I had my sister. She really helped me through this crisis. I had others in my family who stepped in. There were friends who were helpful. So for all of you, it is important that you build good relationships with your friends and family. I want to talk about real friendships, real family. This is not just your friends you have on Facebook. This is not about digitally connected, socially isolated. So ask yourself a few questions, okay? Number one, if something happens to me, which is unethical, that I've done something which is morally wrong, which is unethical, maybe even illegal, who can I go and talk to? If I need to call somebody at 1 a.m., is there somebody who will respond? If I am caught and I need help, who's that friend who can get me out of jail? Who's the friend who can provide me with legal assistance? Who's the friend who, will not judge me? Who's the friend who can give me what is called unconditional positive regard? A lot of times we feel lonely, we feel helpless, hopeless, worthless, because most of the time we feel like my parents won't understand, my best friend won't understand, my brother won't understand, right? Is there a question you have? I want to talk about something that happened recently. I met a friend of mine, and he told me that, can you please mute yourself because you're echoing. So I met a friend of mine, and he told me that, his cousin, who he was closest to, died by suicide. And I asked him what happened. And he said that he was struggling with his sexuality, and he tried to talk to his family about it, and his family didn't accept him. This is unfortunate. There are many of these instances. What I want to tell you is that, a lot of times, a lot of things which are immoral, unethical, are not immoral and unethical, after a certain point in time. Let's say things which are illegal also. Let's say drugs, which is illegal. In some countries, drugs or drug use, especially personal use, is considered a public health issue. It means that the person who's consuming it requires help, and the person will be given that help. It's not treated as a crime and justice issue. In fact, the Social Justice and Empowerment Ministry has recommended that when somebody is caught with small bits of, for personal use, that they should be given assistance. So what I want to tell you is that all of you right now, most of you, I believe, will be below the age of 25 or so. You are going to make a lot of mistakes in life. Do not feel bad about it. Seek help. Find friends and family who will help you. This is really important. You are not fully grown adults. The prefrontal cortex, which is basically, which helps with making better decisions, reasoning, executive functioning, thinking through the consequences of your actions, are not completely developed. So it is important for you to understand that you may need assistance, and it's okay for you to make mistakes. All right. Life skills in building emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to bounce back after there's a negative life event. All of us will go through situations where you're going to feel like you are alone. Sometimes you will need to deal with this yourself. And life skills is about how do you deal with time management? How do you deal with finances? How do you deal with organizing yourself better? How do you deal with conflict management? This might seem simple, but if you don't manage your time well, you may not be able to submit your assignments in time. If you don't submit your assignments in time, then you may be get pulled up. You may be reprimanded. All of this adds up. So what we're trying to do is reduce risk, and we're going to increase protection, right? Okay, so self-esteem and a sense of purpose or meaning in life. This is important. Please put yourself on mute. This is important because let's just say that your entire identity is about being an IITian. It's a great identity. However, there is life beyond that. So having a sense of purpose or meaning in life, saying, I want to, help others. I want to work in a, rescue for dogs shelter, right? I want to work with old people. I want to do mentoring. I want to teach people. All of this is having a sense of purpose and meaning in life, which is very important. Cultural, religious, or personal beliefs that discourage suicide, or even about mental health. It's important that we realize that these things are part and parcel of what we have. And if you do not, if you're growing up in a family or in a community which discourages you from seeking help or views mental health as being weak, try and find a community that is going to help you. Have a mentor. I cannot tell you this. Last year and the year before last, I went through so much distress that I almost felt like, why am I living? What is this life? I wish this whole thing would end. But I have two mentors. I go and talk to them about what is happening in my life, and they provide help, right? So think through people who can be in your family or your, somebody else who's elder to you, maybe somebody from the industry, maybe an alumni, all of these people, or a faculty member who can be somebody that you can talk to. This is important. I spoke about friends who are non-judgmental and give you unconditional positive regard, and of course, becoming spiritual. Reducing risk. So it's important to talk about your feelings. You can talk about this anonymously, or you can talk to this with a therapist. You can talk this with your friends, or you can talk this on Reddit. Find a way to express, find a way to write it yourself. Just being listened to can help you feel supported. Just talking about what is going on sometimes can help you understand what is going on. I find that, when I talk to my therapist, I talk about a lot of things. And then as I'm talking, I find that the solution to my problems actually is within me. But if I don't talk about it, it's very difficult. Getting a good night's sleep, very important. Please track your sleep. I can't stress this enough. Sleep and mental health are closely related. If you're not getting enough of sleep, cortisol builds, more stress, more anxiety, more chances of you not being able, you can't regulate your emotions. So let's just say that you get into an argument, you will get so upset, you will say something mean, or when somebody says something mean, you'll get more upset. And therefore, it's going to affect all aspects of your life. Eat well. A balanced diet can improve your sense of well-being and your mood. Very important. You must be wondering, why am I saying eat, sleep? Simple things, but they're very, very important. Stay active. So I had 4 things I could do for my ADHD. I could take medication, I could exercise, I can take omega-3 supplements, and I can do therapy, and I do mindfulness meditation. So the most important thing that I do, which is helping me with everything else, is exercise. So I play football, I go to cult, so I box, I do strength and conditioning, I cycle when I can. I keep being active, right? So recently I celebrated my 46th birthday, and I put up a photo of mine, and a lot of people were like, wow, are you sure you're 46? And I think the main reason for this is that I exercise, I sleep well, I meditate, I don't hold on to any grudges. So all of this is important. Practice mindfulness, great way to stay present in the moment. Right now, if you're feeling agitated, just sit still, take a few deep breaths, and you'll start to feel better. Or just focus on what I'm saying. Close your eyes and just listen to my voice, and listen to what I'm saying, and just be in the moment. Be present in your body. You will start to feel better. Keep in touch with your friends. Avoid alcohol and drugs. What I mean is, do not use alcohol and drugs to feel better, or become addicted to it. By the way, alcohol and drugs is self-medication. It actually might be a signal that there is something else going on in your life, and maybe you need to meet with a mental health therapist, mental health professionals who will help you with the situation, because we may be using alcohol as a way to self-medicate, and using drugs to medicate, but just talk therapy or meeting with a psychiatrist who will help you with the right kind of medication could help you feel better. Caring for others, whether that's working on relationships with family, letting go of old grudges, or volunteering, very important. Okay, I'm going to discuss 2 aspects over here to keep yourself safe, right? We all want to feel safe, and we want to feel hopeful. So we'll do 2 things. This is called safety planning. Safety planning is, how do you spot signs of distress? So notice when you feel distressful. Do you throw things? Do you eat more? Do you sleep more? Do you sleep less? Do you get angry? Do you stop communicating? Do you retreat back into your room? Do you eat junk food? Do you feel like, doing reckless things, like self-harming? All of this is important. So one of you, please, you just need to mute yourself. And then you need to develop internal coping strategies to try. So my therapist has told me, the moment you feel like this, try and get out, try and walk, try and sleep, try and take a few deep breaths, do mindfulness meditation. Try and just sit with yourself and take a few deep breaths, right? It can be helpful. So all you need to do is take 4 deep breaths, take a deep breath, release it, then count to 10. Take another deep breath, release it, count to 10. Take another deep breath, release it, and then count to 10. You'll start to feel better immediately. Use your friends and family to distract from suicidal thoughts. You can identify who are these people you can talk to. There will be somebody who's non-judgmental. There'll be a friend of yours who's a good listener. There's a friend of yours who can make you laugh. There's a friend of yours who will, who basically never judges you. There's a friend of yours who's closest to your house. There's a friend of yours who you can reach out in the middle of the night. Maybe that person is in a different country, but keep a list of all of these people and reach out to them and communicate. Write down who can help you, and also write down a list of mental health professionals and agencies you can call. 24/7 helplines. If you're uncomfortable with that, you don't want to call, there are chat-based services. There are forums on Reddit that you can use. All kinds of places that you can get help from. And also make it harder for the person to self-harm. If you feel like you self-harm using some things, get rid of it. If you know somebody's self-harming, make sure that you're helping them out. All right. Hope box. These are cards. So this basically can be a. Can somebody mute that person?
I had to remove them actually. I have
Yeah, please remove it. Yeah, thank you. Sorry for that. Yeah, so hope box is something which can be a digital hope box or it can be a physical hope box. What are we going to do with a hope box? A hope box is something that you can use to give you hope when you're feeling low. Either that can be things that are from the past or things in the future, which is going to make you feel better, improve your mood, and make you feel better, right? So you can write a note to yourself, or and this can be something that you can take a photo and keep with you on your phone. It can be something like saying, dear Nelson, you are special and you are cared for. There are people who love you. Remember that you will be able to get through this crisis. You may feel right now that everything is dark and gloomy and things will not go right. You may feel trapped and feel that there is no way out of this. However, in the past, you've gotten through these situations and you know that you are cared for. You know that you have friends and family who love you. So this can be a note. It can also be a voice note that you keep recorded, or it can be a video that you record. But this is important. Photos of special times and places in the past or desired destinations for the future. Photos of people who you love. Photos of people who love you. Spiritual verses, prayers, or objects if you're religious. Recordings of relaxing or uplifting music. All of this can be distracting, can be useful, can improve your mood. Letters or recordings from loved ones offering positive, caring messages. So you can do an exercise today. You can reach out to 3 of your friends or family members and say, can you write a letter to me about saying, why am I important to you? Why am I special? Why do you love me? When you see me, what is the thing that what is it? So tell me one nice thing about me, right? You can reach out to 10 friends and say, tell me one nice thing about me, and tell them to write a note and take a photo of it and send it to you. This will be a reminder for you when you're feeling low. Okay, this will be a reminder for you when you're feeling like, I'm, and I am a bad person, or when you feel like I don't like myself that much. All of these positive, caring messages will be helpful. Inspiring articles, affirmations, quotes or poems, jokes or stories that make you laugh, list of goals, dreams, and aspirations, coping cards with skills or activities used to cope with stressful situations, right? All of this can be written. You can download these. You can say, my goal is to open a school. My goal is to get married and have children. My goal is to start a company. My goal is to travel to Japan. My goal is to open an animal shelter, right? So all of this is going to be helpful for you, because then you have something to look forward to. So in Man's Search for Meaning, this is a beautiful book written by a Holocaust survivor, and in that he writes that he's in a in a concentration camp in World War II, and people around him are dying, and then he says, I want to get out of this camp, I want to make this alive, and I want to write a book. The same over here. If you have a meaning, you have a purpose, no matter what happens to you in your life, you will always feel like, I want to move on. And the clearer, if you mostly are, do not understand why, what your purpose is, or have a meaning for life, you'll find it more difficult if you do not have people that you love, people who love you back. So make a list of all of this. This is going to be helpful for you. Okay, I want to end by saying, make mental health the foundation for your life, and everything else is going to be helpful. You can always reach out to me if you have any more questions. I'm going to stop sharing right now, and I'm going to take questions. I want to hear from you. Just put up your hand and ask a question. regarding anything that you want to ask me a question about. Yeah, Ulfa, go ahead.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much. This was very insightful. So I have a few questions and a few comments actually. So
Mhm.
we always associate the feeling of suicidal to have faced something extreme in life. For
Uh-huh.
example, death or breakup, as you said. But we do also feel depressed when everything is fine. Depressed and eventually suicidal, even when things are going fine.
Mhm.
Like, I'm sure all of us must have had experiences where we are randomly crying for no reason. We don't know what is happening. Or,
Yeah,
for example, the celebrity Deepika Padukone was speaking about her experience. That things
yeah,
were fine, but she didn't know what was happening. So,
right,
how do we deal with this? Rather, how do we even identify that this is depression?
right,
And it may or may not be related to extreme situations, right? How
yeah.
do we identify?
So watch out for. That's why Thanks for that's a great question. I want to say that unfortunately, all of us we are not taught in school or college to identify feelings. Okay, so we really don't know what's going on with us. So your point about saying sometimes we are randomly crying, there is no need for death or a breakup for you to feel low. Absolutely right. You can go to sleep, wake up, and then feel completely low. You wake up on a Sunday morning and then you suddenly feel like, what? Why am I living? What is really going on? You might actually, some of you might get a job in this amazing place, get a big salary, and then feel extremely low, right? So how do you identify this? I look for simple things. If you are eating too much, you're eating too little, or you're eating junk food, if you're craving drugs or alcohol, if you are getting irritable, if you're talking too much or you're talking too little, if you feel like distancing yourself from your friends and your family, if you feel like you don't want to get out of bed, if you feel like you don't want to have a bath, if you feel like all the activities that you used to enjoy, listening to music, going out and doing something, you no longer enjoy them even when you do it. Um, and literally you feel like you are drained, you have no energy, if you feel sad, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling disoriented, if you feel physically unwell, all of these are signs that something is wrong. Okay, what I want to tell you is that the most important thing for you right now is to acknowledge, don't get stressed about being stressed, don't get depressed about being depressed, don't get anxious about being anxious, right? So how do you do that? First of all, we must acknowledge that this is life. If you look at a heartbeat, it goes down, it goes up, it then it's like that, it goes up and down, right? Life is exactly like that. When does life remain a straight line? When you're dead. So if we are, as long as we are alive, day turns into night, night turns into day, the sun comes out, the sun goes down, and there's darkness. These are seasons that happen. So life is exactly like that. What do you do that time? You take a moment to say it's fine, and then you try and seek help. Where do you seek help? You can start by talking to your friends and family. You can start by looking for a therapist. Your college provides help. If you feel that that is inadequate, try and find your own therapist. There are therapists who, I also have one very important thing to say. You know that in IIT there are various streams, right? Everybody says engineering, but you have various streams. So a civil engineer is very different from a computer science engineer. But people think that a therapist is the same for everyone, but it's not. I have what is called trauma. I need a trauma informed therapist. I have ADHD. So only somebody who has a specialization in CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, or DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy, can help me. If you have, let's say you're finding a situation where you're dealing with your sexuality, you need a therapist who understands that. You need a queer affirmative therapist. You can't go to anyone. If you're having a problem with relationships. So what I want to say is that when you're looking for a therapist, first of all, identify what is the problem that you have, and then go to a therapist who's going to help you with that. If you have any, so it's very important that you understand this. If you don't understand this, it's like saying, you're going to a civil engineer for a computer science problem, right? It doesn't work. The same over here. So identify what's going on within you, then identify the right person to solve the problem for you. So any one of you going through this, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to seek help. And if anybody judges you for how you're feeling, the problem is not with you, the problem is with that other person. Yeah, somebody else raised the hand. Go ahead and ask the question. Ulfa, if you have more questions, you can go ahead and ask more questions.
Yeah, if there's nobody else, then maybe I'll just ask.
Yeah,
so my thing is, recently there was a very unfortunate situation in our campus. So
yeah.
even though we didn't know the student, all of us in the institute were hurt, we were disturbed. And we kept questioning ourselves, like, why, why this happened, what ifs, all those ifs, buts, and all those things. And also I've noticed when certain situations come up, we just go on to our WhatsApp and see many statuses saying, like, I'm here to listen, pour your heart out. We feel like typing that, come, I'm here. And similar thing I'd seen when Sushant Singh Rajput case had happened. Suddenly it was like all over Facebook, even LinkedIn, people are pushing, writing statuses like, come, we are there to listen. But this time it really got me thinking, like, when was the last time I posted something? Did I take time off to listen? So it feels like for that moment we want to have this mindset that people should come and talk to you. But I think in other days when we go, if I want to approach that same person, he's busy or he makes fun of you. So it's not a question, it's just that how mindful we should be of what we are actually saying to the public or deciding to do something of this sort. Like,
Right.
I think we should think a little bit more when we post such questions, whether we really mean it.
Right. So that's a great point. I want to say this, that I think when somebody is posting that, they actually feel like they want to listen. I also want to say that, Ulfa, that we are not trained to listen, unfortunately. Also, we have a lot going on in our lives. I woke up at 5:30. I went and played football. I hurried back. I prepared for this. I just showered, and I had breakfast before that. I finished this. I have lunch. If I can get a nap, great. After this, I've got a workshop with IIT Delhi, and then I'm working on a weekend. All of you are busy. It's very difficult for you to be there for someone. So what do we need to do is we need to create a circle of people. So in IIT Bombay, there are mentors, and there are trained mentors to listen right now. So they've received suicide prevention gatekeeper training. So I think one of the things that, Sulagna, that can be done is, populating this list where everybody knows that these are gatekeepers and people can go to them. So Ulfa, to say that for the rest of them, you can do, if you're interested, you can do a 1 hour online course for suicide prevention training that we offer. Or if you want to do a free course, it's available online, right? So yes, people suddenly wake up. Yes, people will, when you go to them later, they may not be in a position to help you. Therefore, we need to identify more people who can help us out. We can't rely on just one person. We need to be able to say, also, if one person comes to you and they seek your help, you need to tell them that I'm here to help you right now. However, I also want you to build a circle of protection. I want you to have somebody in your family you can talk to. I need you to have a mental health professional. I need you to have a mentor. I want you to have a spiritual guide. I want you to have, friends you can talk to. I want you to be able to, for you to have a place, a number of a crisis helpline that at 4 a.m. in the morning, none of them are available. I want you to call that helpline. So there are many options available to you. You need a buffet of choices. The problem is that we think that there's only one person who can help us, or only one person, I'm the only person who can help someone. So you need to mobilize support, create this circle of protection. That is just not one person. Okay, so Roshan, yeah, and Nikita, you can go one after the other.
Maybe Nikita can go first and then to Roshan.
So thanks a lot, sir. That was really helpful. But actually, I have observed, at least with myself, that what happens is whenever we are in distress, we look for support somewhere. There might be a number of solutions possible, but that becomes a temporary solution. For that time being, we feel okay. Then after some time, we are again into that situation. How to look for a permanent solution?
Right. So, Nikita, great question. We mostly go and seek help when there's a crisis, right? And then the crisis is averted. However, there are some structural issues, right? So, let's say that there is something called adverse childhood experiences, or ACE, adverse childhood experiences. Adverse childhood experiences, if you have had any kind of like emotional, physical, verbal, sexual abuse, you're in a family where there was fighting, maybe there was alcoholism, maybe there was, you were in an environment where you suffered an adverse childhood experience, right? As you're growing up, things happen to you. This causes trauma. Trauma means that it's there in your body and it's there in your mind. So there are a number of things. So adverse childhood experience is one of the things where structurally you could have a problem and it's there and it only surfaces when you reach a crisis point. It also could mean that you have an undiagnosed mental illness, right? Someone, I think Ulfa was saying, you just wake up and you feel like crying. So there was somebody who was feeling suicidal and they really didn't know what it was. So they went for a diagnosis and they found out that they have something called premenstrual dysphoric disorder, or PMDD. So this thing about saying you go, there's a crisis, you get help, you feel better, and then the problem comes back. This could be either because there is a structural problem, which could be, like I said, trauma. It could be because of a mental illness. This could be because of, something which was not addressed. Let's say, there is clinical depression, or there is, you have borderline personality disorder, or you have bipolar disorder, you have something else, right? In these cases, what it means is that, you are walking, but there's something broken. Let's say your leg is broken. But every now and then you seek help. It's like you get crutches and you walk, and then the crutches are gone, and then, you go back. So one thing is to be aware of what is the problem that it is you're going through, and when are you going through this, right? So if you understand this, and I mentioned a lot of things that can impact you. So this can be genetic, biological. It can be a precipitating factor, meaning something happens in your life. It can be death in the family. It can be alcoholism. It can be a number of things. So that is one. Secondly, if you haven't built the protection, so just like we save money, and when there is a crisis, we use that money. So if our mental health, we need to build strength. Mental health hygiene is required. Mental health hygiene means every day, what are you doing for your mental health? You woke up today, you brushed your teeth, you had some food to eat, maybe you showered, you wore on clean clothes. That is physical hygiene. You need to do the same for your mental hygiene. If you're not doing the same thing for your mental hygiene, then your brain is getting clogged, and then, it's difficult to function. There's a lot of festering of old wounds, and then your brain is literally not healthy. And then you go and get help, and then becomes healthy again. But if you're not doing it every day, then eventually, and if you're not building protective factors, all the things that I spoke about, I said family, having a sense of purpose and meaning in life, exercising, going out into nature, being able to eat properly, going for therapy, having a spiritual side to your life, all of these things will help you. So that is important. Yeah. Next.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yeah, Dipanshu or Roshan actually first.
Hi, sir.
Yeah. Hi.
Question here, sir. Sir, actually, the thing is that I am mentally and physically so strong, but I think I am emotionally so weak. There are a lot of incidents occur in 2020. Some like my professor demised. After that, one of my wingmate got suicide, and one to two incident more occur in my family also. After that, what happened that I am feeling so scared with the dark. I can't sleep by keeping my light on. Or after that, the incident which happened in my hostel wing. After what happened that I feel so scared at night. I don't know. I just don't love to stay work at night or anywhere. I think that that should be always day for me. And I don't know. I do workout 6 days a week. I take balanced diet. I change everything. I have my life is so managed. But I think I'm so weak emotionally. So weak emotionally.
So what I want to say, Roshan, is I'm really sorry for all your losses. I'm so sorry. I know that, you know, these kind of losses that you've suffered can be very brutal. I want you to stop saying you're weak emotionally. I want you to say that you suffered trauma. Trauma means if, you know, it's like every time there's a death or there's any kind of suicide or any kind of disruption, if, you know, let's just say you broke your wrist and it's healing, and while it's healing, it gets broken again. And you're healing, and again it gets broken. Is your wrist weak? No, your wrist is not weak. It's just that there was a blow, repeated blow on your wrist that is causing this. So what you need to do, Roshan, is first of all, if you haven't already sought help from a therapist, you need a therapist who can provide you with grief therapy. So these wounds that we carry from, you know, from death especially, they stay a long time. And grief and loss, unfortunately, stays for a very long time. And if you do not get the right kind of therapy for, you know, it's called, and you suffered two different kinds of grief. So you have grief, which is the normal grief from a death. And then there's grief from a suicide, which is called complicated grief. Complicated grief takes longer to heal. There's loss. And remember, I said being unsafe, right? So right now you feel unsafe. And remember, I said there are times when you have beliefs which are irrational beliefs. So you are afraid of the dark. But that's true because you're feeling unsafe. You're, you know, you have a. So I want to first tell you what you're doing is great and you can get better. Things will start improving for a long time. It's just like, suppose, you know, you get a shock. Okay. Electric shock, you know, when you're growing up, you get an electric shock. Next time as a kid, you're very scared to touch that. But as you grow up, you start to understand how electricity works. Same as if you got burned somewhere, no? You're so scared of that. But once you start to grow up, you know how to handle it. Same way right now, what I want to say is that you've suffered a lot of impact. You've suffered a lot of pain and suffering, and this is called trauma. The trauma is remaining in your body and it remains in your nervous system. And every time that happens, your nervous system basically puts you in a place where you're getting, you know, agitated, where you're either feeling like you want to, run away from that. It's flight, it's fright, you know, or it's fleeing or, you know, being fawning, right? So that's what's happening. And I would recommend that you first of all acknowledge that this happened to you and it is fine. You're not weak emotionally. You can also build resilience. Like I told you, when my dad passed away, my best friend died by suicide, my mom passed away. I started becoming more spiritual. So you can try different things. You can, and your trauma cannot be healed by exercise or eating alone. You will need a trauma-informed therapist. So they are called trauma-informed therapists, meaning they know how to handle trauma. And there are, I would want you to look at a documentary. It's called Wisdom of Trauma. So go to this website. It's called wisdomoftrauma.com. And there's a documentary by Gabor Mate that you should look at. And also there's a Facebook page called Wisdom of Trauma Film. Over there, I want you to go and read some of the stories. They're from around the world about people who've dealt with all kinds of things. You also go and ask your question over there and you're going to start feeling much better. But seek a help from a psychiatrist as well as a trauma-informed therapist. Maybe you do not need medication, but just working with a therapist as to, going through this process of grief is going to be hugely helpful for you.
Sir, what is a wisdom of trauma documentary by?
Wisdom of Trauma. If you look for it online, by Gabor, Gabor Mate, Gabor Mate.
Sir, when I compare myself, previously I am the only student who was completely alone in the campus, and I was completely enjoying that during the Corona period. I was completely alone in my hostel and everywhere. I was completely happy, but I don't know now. I feel so scared when I think that there should be someone who can stay with me. Means I'm feeling so like that unsafe, really
Right.
very unsafe.
Right. So I'm sorry that you're feeling unsafe.
And I'm not going on any terrace because it's happened with the same terrace, just one floor above my room. So I am feeling so scared to go on terrace or anywhere, and means I'm just like, I don't know, I can't explain.
Well, I'm really sorry. I want to give you a hug, Roshan. I'm sure that you're going through a lot. I care about you, and I know what this feels like. It's not easy. And I'm sure that you're missing your friend, and I'm sure that you're missing all the other people you have lost. But I think, you are alive, and you can make a meaning for your life also. So after my friend died, I did a lot of things in my life, but eventually I came back, and I'm, my organization, I'm doing this full time. 4 years now. It's not been easy at all, but you can also, the way grief moves from surviving, then it moves to sustaining, and then moves to, striving. You will start to feel better, but you need to do the basic things. It is okay for you to feel scared of going to the terrace. Right now, you're feeling scared. I would say reach out to, the Bandhu team or the well-being team, and there are mentors who can help you. Even if you have one friend to talk to, it'll be helpful. And we'll see, maybe we can talk to the Bandhu team to see whether we can form a support group. And then we can meet, we can try and meet every week. So at least in that support group, you feel safe to talk. Because, so this is happening in IIT Delhi, by the way. Sulagna, we are doing the first support group today. All the participants sign a NDA, and whatever they say is going to be safe, confidential, non-judgmental, and there are some rules of engagement. So maybe that's something we can consider. But Roshan, you can reach out to me. I've left my number and my email. You can reach out to the Bandhu team. I think you will get the help that you need. Take every day as it comes. It's going to get better.
Roshan, sorry, Nelson, I'm interrupting. Roshan, if you are facing any difficulty, we have online counseling services, 24/7 services. So you can reach out to them. And in case you need the details, I'll just leave the details in the chat box. You can just reach out to them.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night.
I'm taking counseling with Saugat sir, something
Shaukat
like that.
Sir. Yeah, great. I think he's a great person to speak to, and I think you'll find your way out. I think you are on the right path. But I'm saying, suppose in the middle of the night you feel like you need to reach out. There are helplines where you can reach out. There are 24/7 support where you can reach out to. Yeah.
So talk to Saugat sir and get that safety plan made. You can keep that safety plan as a, you can take a printout. You can also keep it on your phone. That's very important. Safety planning is when your mind is completely stops working, you could just be able to look at your phone and you know exactly what to do. So that's one thing that can be done. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Okay,
I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah. Feeling something better.
Yeah. We have another question. Dipanshu.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So So thanks for the talk, sir. I have a very slightly different question from the previous question. As we see in academia, so we have like labs up to 5. We have plenty of assignments. So we under the time management, we tend to suppress our interest and hobbies. So what happens is that because we haven't developed our hobbies in our whole academic career, so when this type of new pandemic occurs, we are sent in the isolation, and the people realize that with doing academics they can't survive the whole day. They need to find some hobbies to spend their days, right? But that time the people usually feel that because I haven't spent a lot of time doing my interest, because there was so much workload that institutes pushes on the students. So under that, student feel that what I can do, I can only study, that's all. But as students try to study more, because the situation is not similar every time, right? Because now there is people are usually half of the time they are in isolation, so they can't concentrate. So I just want to ask you what activities one can pursue, because in these difficult times or in the isolation, so that he can like, you talked about dopamine, right? So he can really, like, he can entertain himself. So you are getting my question, right? So
Yes, yes,
that's
yes.
it.
Yeah. So thanks. That's a great question. And hobbies and activities. Yeah. So you could start with, I would urge you, if you do not exercise right now, just start with walking or running, or join a running group. You will feel great. There are people who do bouldering, climbing. There are people, all kinds of physical activities that you can do. You can start with doing yoga. You can watch YouTube videos and start by doing yoga, and then you can join an online yoga community. So what I want you to do is, whenever you do an activity, also join a community. Community makes you feel like I am not alone. Very important for you not to feel alone, right? Then you can get out and be with nature. So you can go for a trek. I don't know, in Bombay, at least in Bangalore, there are places where you can just go for a trek. You can join other trekking groups. So look for trekking groups. Look for interests. Try everything. Start cooking. Watch Master Chef. Start cooking. A lot of people love cooking. You don't know what it is that is going to make you feel good. What it is that you will feel like saying, this is who I am. You can start by journaling. Journaling means I write how I'm feeling right now. Just take one book after you finish now and just start writing saying, I feel like I've been focused only on academics. I feel like I haven't developed any hobbies and activities. I feel right now I want to develop hobbies and activities. And then ask yourself, what do you think I'm interested in? When did I feel alive? When did I feel happy? When did I feel joy? Who are my heroes? And so on and so forth. Start writing every day. And then you can start off by gratitude journaling. Gratitude journaling is to say, hi, I'm alive today. Hi, I am an IIT. Wow. Hi, I have a future which is looking bright. And all kinds of things, right? You can just, like today I told you I got hit by that football and I couldn't see. Right now I feel I'm just so happy just to be able to see. So you can say, I can smell, I can taste, I can see. So gratitude journaling. Then you can figure out a way to draw. You can order online. There is called adult drawing books. They give you all these patterns and then you draw in that. So just get colors and just draw. If you can learn how to draw, you learn how to draw. But it's great. Art therapy is real. Dance movement therapy. Put on music and dance only for yourself. You don't need a hobby which is going to take you outside. Put some music on and move your body. The moment you move your body, you start to feel better. So anything, even for 2 minutes, if you move your body, just go crazy. Use your voice, use your body, use any part of you, you're going to feel better. Music. There are many types of music that you can listen to. I listen to, a music that makes me feel calm, music that makes me feel exhilarated. That's a great way of doing it. So you can find different ways to do it. And then you can just try and find new people that you can join you. If you have a cycle, find other people who can cycle. But maybe you can learn an instrument, play an instrument. If you do not have an instrument, just start playing, banging on something, percussion. So you'll find that you are uniquely suited for something, and make it non-competitive. You're doing it for yourself. There is no competition. There is no level to be reached. You're enjoying your hobby as it is. How about reading? How about writing? How about volunteering? So you have a lot of skills. There are a lot of nonprofits who can use your skills. So if you volunteer and then that nonprofit benefits from your skills, be like, wow. So you feel good about it. So this dopamine, the moment you help even one person, dopamine gets released. You're motivated to do something. So I'm doing this talk today. I'm motivated, right? So I feel like my Saturday has been well spent. So find ways to do it. Travel if you can. During the pandemic, I'm not sure how much you can. Mindfulness meditation. Meditation. Go online. Go to YouTube and look for Calm. CALM. Calm meditation. You can do a meditation if you're feeling agitated. It's called soothing meditation. If you are angry with someone, you can do a forgiveness meditation. If you're not able to sleep, you can do a sleep meditation. So under Calm and Headspace, you'll find 10-minute meditations. Just turn it on, close your eyes, listen to what they're saying, and just follow the instructions. But if you just do the mindfulness meditation, and like I said, just being in the moment is going to change your life. Just being aware of your breath is going to be able to change your life, right? So all of these things will be helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anybody
thanks, sir.
else? You're welcome. And it's not too late to do any kind of hobby, right? There are a lot of online games also. I'm currently playing a game called Wordle, Wordle.
Yeah, yes, yes. I'm too playing that.
Yeah, today there's a word which called wins. I got that in the last try. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Rajbir.
Uh, hi Nelson. It was a very good talk. I liked it. So I just want to say that for the past 3 years, I've been following Mr. Eckhart Tolle
Hmm.
online.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you heard of him?
Yeah, The
So
Power of Now. No, I read his book.
exactly, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
So actually means those his talks actually really help. Means like he concentrates on your. He says that you concentrate on your breath or
Yes.
your the aliveness of your body, and
Yes.
means it's there basically, and it's
Yeah.
all energy basically, and this because this body is kind of a temporary wheel,
Yes.
but your actual essence is something else. Means like
Yes.
uh, in breath is your essence, in realizing that you are alive is your essence.
Yeah.
So that will be really helpful. So I'll means generally I'll also means highly recommend his talks actually
Yes.
for everybody, and
Yeah.
so just wanted to like say this thing only.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
But
great
it
thing.
was
Thanks for mentioning it. Yeah.
yeah, but I really liked your talk.
Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you, Rajbir. So, The Power of Now, or any of Eckhart Tolle's books are great. They're small little books. You can get them online or you can get them for free. Basically, you know, we are programmed, unfortunately, to keep moving and to be hustling. We don't never stop. But the moment you stop, take a deep breath and come to the moment, the magic happens over there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And like even like what he recommends and what I have also seen in my thing, that when I do something, only if I take a few bit of moments like to just sense that I am there. Basically, my breath is there. I am alive. Uh,
yeah.
like I am doing something. Just I'll take a bit of a moment, and like just that realization will be like means that is a thing that really deepens your senses and really makes you grounded, and those kind of stuff happens. So I'll write in this
Yeah.
chat box Eckhart Tolle,
Yeah,
and
please
maybe
do.
can people can like go there and watch his videos online, and
Yes.
maybe buy his book or something. So
Yes.
that will, I think.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
do. Yeah, share it with
Yes,
everyone, and it's
yes.
great. And what you said, I am here, my breath is here, and I'm present, deepening your senses. helps us to calm down, because most of the time we are breathing shallow. We only breathe like here. But the moment we start to breathe more deeply, our nervous systems calm down, we feel much better, and we are able to deal with anything. So I would highly recommend. And this is something that Indians have been following for centuries, right? Pranayama is basically that. It's the power of the breath. And we need to go back to the simple things about being aware.
Exactly. Yes, yes.
I also recommend self-compassion, because we are filled in a world which is constantly judging us. Self-compassion and self-love. So these are Buddhist concepts which came out of India. Self-compassion is just treating ourselves kindly. Whenever you feel like, you're worthless, just come back and listen to the voice in your head. What is it saying to you? Is it saying you're a bad person? You're a lazy person? You're a weak person? Then say, no, I'm not. I am who I am, and I am enough. And all of these things that are being said are mostly being said by, expectations from outside. I also want to say that all of you are ambitious and you'll want to do great things, but slow down if you want to, go fast. I want to repeat, slow down if you want to go fast. What do I mean by this? So the most successful entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, their ages are 43 to 45. This is research. So we've been sold this lie that you need to achieve success early in life. No, you don't need to. Actually, what you need to focus is on making friends, focus on your family, because they're not going to be around forever. Making sure that you get your mental hygiene, get mental health, emotional resilience, have life skills, build social connectedness, become more aware of yourself, like building new things. So I think this is for Roshan also what Rajbir is saying. If you just build a mindfulness meditation practice, your entire life will change. You'll start to feel much, much, much better. Because that single thing about focusing on your breath will change a lot of things. So I want to reiterate, mindfulness meditation. I want to reiterate self-compassion, self-love, very important. Treat yourself kindly, because mostly we do not treat ourselves kindly. So tell yourself, I am enough. Yeah, Akash.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
I had a question.
Yes.
So one of my friends asked my help,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know how to respond or how to advise him correctly.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me that he told me that he had unwanted images about people around him, which are sexually oriented,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me that it may be because of porn. So I
Mm-hmm.
told him that to leave those thoughts and to
Mm-hmm.
for a few seconds to focus, to do not focus anywhere, to
Mm-hmm.
see breath. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that it is the best advice that I can give him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me what should I do?
Right. So first of all, anything that we do in life, there is no right or wrong unless you're harming another person, right? Or you're harming yourself. Um, is just that we are constantly told that this is wrong, that is right. Uh, First of all, when you talk to him, you need to communicate to him that what he's doing is not wrong. However, it becomes wrong when we, like I said, harming another person, right? So these images, if it leads to him harming someone, then it becomes wrong. So how can he help? How can he get help? I would recommend, like I said, all addictions are actually caused because there's a deficiency of some kind. In fact, addictions are mostly caused are either self-medication, meaning there's a pain and then the addiction offers a solution, or there is trauma. So in this Wisdom of Trauma movie documentary, you'll find that Gabor Mate says all addiction, whatever it is, it's related to food, drugs, alcohol, porn, gambling, anything is actually linked to trauma. So our body is in pain, therefore it is seeking some kind of pleasure temporarily to help us out through it. And uh, and if you feel unsafe, then that temporarily, when you have a drink in your hand, you feel safe, or you feel like this is something that I can control. If you feel like you can't control anything in your life, you want to seek something which is comforting, and that can be an addiction. So in this case, your friend will definitely need to meet with a mental health professional, because a trained mental health professional will be able to understand what he's saying better and be able to help him better. But I would say be kind to him, be compassionate to him, and don't be judgmental. And I think you are already doing all of these things, but just, talk to him and say it's okay. And, and then remind him that it only becomes a problem if he's going to act on anything, or, there is harm that is done to another person or harm to himself, right? Those are only two times I think there is a problem, because, we can't be doing that. Therefore, I would recommend that he meets with a mental health professional who can help him through this. This is a common problem for a lot of people, which, they are unable to get rid of, but there's no reason for him to feel bad about himself because of this. Yeah. Okay, anyone else? Tharang.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. I have post-traumatic events. I think I am suffering from PTSD,
Mhm.
and I have problems with my concentration.
Mhm.
I'm not able to focus much, and this is because of the traumas that I've gone through in my past life.
Mhm.
So, what can I do to improve myself in this matter?
Right. So I'm really sorry, Tarang, about the trauma you've experienced and how you're feeling right now. I'm sure that it's a lot to be carrying around, and not being able to focus is definitely an issue, because you're unable to do the things that you want to do and then achieve the things you want to achieve. I would say get a appointment with a psychiatrist and get a complete diagnosis done, right? So in my case, ADHD means attention deficit. I have a lot of trouble focusing, and therefore I use many methods, and I work with my therapist who helps me with this focus. One of the things you can try, which is, off the counter, Himalaya Drug Company sells something called Brahmi, Brahmi. I found it very useful to focus, and it's got no side effects, nothing, right? So it's you can get it. You don't need a prescription for that. So it's Himalaya Drug Company Brahmi, Brahmi. Also, this mindfulness meditation is hugely helpful, and doing yoga has helped me. And also, if you work with a therapist, they will tell you how to take away distractions and be able to focus. But get yourself diagnosed, and also find a way to talk to a therapist, especially, like I said, if you can find a trauma informed therapist. Ask your therapist, are you trauma informed, or do you have any experience with trauma at all? If they don't, then they may not be able to actually help you. Like I said, right, people think engineers means engineers, but you can't go to a computer science person and tell them to build a building. So the same way, if you don't find the right therapist, you'll think that, therapy is useless, but it's not. It's just that you've gone to the wrong therapist. So with trauma, there are many. So again, I'm saying, go look up Wisdom of Trauma. Can somebody just post it on the group? It's called wisdomoftrauma.com. I've sent it to Sulagna. Can you just post that? There is Wisdom of Trauma film on Facebook also. If you post over there, so just search, somebody find that Wisdom of Trauma film Facebook page. If you join that page and you post what you're saying, you'll get responses, tens, many responses, and very, very good responses from around the world. And it's a very good community, the best community I've seen on Facebook. Wisdom of Trauma film. So do all of these things, and also be kind to yourself, and be careful of addiction, because trauma is the gateway to addiction. So the addiction, you have to be really careful of. Yeah, Rajveer, thank you. Also look for that Facebook page also, it'll be helpful. Yeah, so good luck, Tarang.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay. So Lagna, should we end with a mindfulness meditation exercise, or
Yes, I think it was a great session, and I was so glad to, see students like coming up, opening up, and asking questions. And I'm glad we could, in whatever capacity we could help them. And I hope we can also arrange for, such sessions in the future as well. And for today, I think we can close it here.
Sure, let's close it over here. All of you are doing great. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Unfortunately, this right now, the way everything is, capitalism is structured, is that we are constantly being made to feel afraid. Therefore, they can sell you more stuff, right? It's okay. I'm not telling us to become communist, but at the same time, I think somebody was saying we are so doing so much of academics that we don't have no time for our hobbies. So we need to take some time. Like I really like Rajveer's suggestion about Eckhart Tolle, the power of now. Look all of these up. Doing simple things like if you just, you finish right now and go online and you look for, mindfulness meditation, 10-minute exercise for a soothing meditation, and you listen to it. Trust me, you're going to feel better. There is something called neurogenesis, right? And neuroplasticity. Our brains can become healthier. Our brains can grow new cells. Mindfulness meditation makes more connections within the brain. They become more compassionate, they become more harmonious, they become more innovative, they become more creative, and we become, less stressed. And therefore, like I said, if you don't practice mental hygiene every day, like you brush your teeth, we have a bath, otherwise you're going to be stinking, right? Your brain is stinking. And there's a lot of stuff which is accumulated over 20-25 years in your brain. The trauma sometimes is that your brain is rotten over there. So you can start to heal it, and you can, and then if you make that ground fertile, you build the right foundation for you to grow. So again, I want to remind you, don't be in a hurry to be successful, because most successful entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley are between 43 and 45. Take this time to understand yourself better, be in more touch with your feelings, build an emotional vocabulary to be able to express your feelings, find the right set of friends who are going to be there for you, become closer to your family, and then build communities around you, around your interests, and then you're going to start to feel better. So thank you very much. I really enjoyed myself. Have a great afternoon, and we'll try and do this again when we can. Thank you. I'm going to stay in case anybody has a question to ask me in the end. So all of you who wants to log off can log off. I'll wait till the end if somebody has any question that they want to ask me. Maybe they want to ask in front of everyone. Thank you. Right. If anybody has any question, you can ask now. I think most of them have left. We'll wait for a few minutes, and if